I'm Victoria Pearson, but you can call me V, and it has been a bit of a week this week. It has been half term, so my youngest and my 17-year-old have been at home this week, eating me out of house and home actually. And also this week, if you've been watching my shorts, you'll probably know that I had car dramas and then I had dramas with my dog. He is a very, very elderly dog and he suddenly got a big lump on his face. I was very, very worried about him. So we've had to go to the vets this morning and it's all been very, very stressful. Thinking he's okay at the moment though, so that's a good thing. One thing I did manage to do this week though, which I'm so over the moon about, is finally finish this artwork that I have been working on for ever and ever. So I thought I'll quickly show you the process. So I actually started with the springtime one, but I forgot to film while I was doing that. This was me starting with the winter one, and at first I wasn't going to put any sort of snow or anything on it because we don't often get snow here in the winter, but I decided this looked a little bit too plain, so I ended up adding some snow to it later anyway. And then I started on the other seasons as well. That one's going to become summer, I think. We've got the little bit of sunshine in there, and that's me just adding some extra sort of highlights onto the tree, because with each of them I started off by doing the skeleton of the tree and the branches and things, and then went back in and added petals and leaves or whatever it needed. And so each of them actually does have the skeleton of the tree underneath the leaves, even if you can't completely see the leaves. It was quite tricky to paint and film at the same time, I have to say, and so I didn't end up doing an awful lot of it like this because it was a little bit nerve-wracking. But here we go, we've got the spring, the winter, the summer and the autumn miniatures. They were very fiddly and annoying, but then I did this background piece. I don't love that background piece, but we did it. And then we mounted them all up and then I realised, can you see? Yeah, I put them all in the wrong order, so it goes winter, summer, spring, autumn, which is not how I envisioned it anyway, but it's fine because I hated that backing piece, so I painted a new backing piece, which I'm much happier with, that same tree again, but in the fog this time, and I think that it looks so much better than the last one did. Really, really pleased with how that one turned out, and actually decided that it was a bit of a shame that it gets completely covered by all these little canvases, but nevertheless, I took the whole thing apart again, and it was a good thing I did because they were wonky anyway, and like I say, they were in the wrong order completely, and I decided I didn't love that backing piece. It was too dark, it was too distracting from the rest of the pieces, it needed to be a lot paler. So I got my new backing piece for it, and then decided to try and line up these miniature canvases so that they would sit nicely in the frame. Despite me using these spaces, I still feel like they don't look completely even now I've glued them in, but they're as even as I could get them. I think that the actual canvases themselves are slightly different sizes. But what I did was marked out where they had to go, made sure they were in the right order this time, which I very nearly stuck them in the wrong order again. Spring, summer, autumn, winter, there we go. Because the piece itself is called The World Turns, and so I wanted it to be turning the right way. And so after I had got those and mounted them on there, I hung it on the wall to see how it looked, and I was very, very pleased with how it turned out. It took far longer than it had any right to. And so that is the finished piece, and I'm actually very, very pleased with how it's come out. Sorry, you can see my ring light there. I've got the 4 tiny little canvases that took forever, and then the backing piece as well, which you can't see wonderfully well on screen right now, but I actually think came out better than all of the mini canvases on it. I really like that backing piece, and I might have to do some more sort of foggy trees on future artworks because I really, really enjoyed that. Having finished that artwork prompted me to look through some of my old canvases from about 2018-ish. I had a look, and some of them, my gosh, that was a humbling experience. They are awful. Some of them I'm going to have to just paint over the whole canvas and start again. Others I might be able to fix now that I've got a bit more painting skill. But I did find 3 that I really, really liked still, which is these 3. We've got the Moonlit Waterfall, we've got the Stormy Seas, and we've got the Snowscape with pinks. I really, really enjoy doing snowscapes. I think I showed you one a little while ago where I did snowscape entirely in blue. Really, really enjoyed that. And so it wasn't all bad. I did get some artworks that I still liked in there, and that was good. And I've started some new artworks as well, but I've not come very far along on those yet. But here's a little sneak peek for you.
Mum, what are you doing?
Listen, I've got a vision. Just trust me, I've got a vision. I am going to try and poke this into here so I can make this into like her hair. Oh, I'm so scared. Oh, it's doing it. It's doing it. Oh, don't crumble to pieces. Don't crumble to pieces. Don't crumble to pieces. I think that'll do. I think that'll do. That's close enough for now, I think. I'm not going to risk forcing it in any further and making the whole face crumble. I'm going to build clay up around it, I think. That'll be fine. It'll be fine. I've got a vision. Look, I've got a vision, okay? It's going to come together. It looks crazy at the moment, but it's going to come together. Or at least, I hope it's going to come together. I'll show you when it's finished if it actually does. Now, in the meantime, if you like this artwork, or you like any of the other artworks that I've just shown, I think I am going to just pop them on my Ko-fi store. They are one-of-a-kind pieces, so once it's sold, it's sold. I can't do you another one. Partly because I'm never bloody doing a tiny little miniature canvas like that again. You would have thought that a tiny little canvas would be much quicker than doing a great big canvas, and much easier than doing a great big canvas. But for me, it was a nightmare doing these little miniatures because they're so fiddly. Every little speck of paint has to be just right. Otherwise it ruins the whole thing. And so they took me forever. These took me weeks and weeks and weeks. And I hope somebody ends up liking them. I'm going to pop them on my Ko-fi store. I'll try and remember to put a link down here. But if I forget to put a link down here, I will put one in the description. And yeah, by the end of today, when this comes out, they should all be up on the store. But as soon as they go up, if they sell, they sell. I'm not redoing them. Every one of my art pieces is a one-of-a-kind piece because I just can't recreate things that I've painted. So if you really, really love one, you better get in there really, really quickly and grab hold of that one. I do have some other artworks planned. I've got some more paintings planned that I want to do. I kind of want to try painting some things that aren't landscapes because I'm quite into my landscapes. I find them quite forgiving to do. Trees are fun to paint and lots of people like landscapes, don't they? But I haven't actually painted anything that isn't a landscape since I was studying art at school. And so I might have a play about trying to do some people or some objects or something like that that isn't a landscape. But I enjoy painting the landscapes. I find it very relaxing. So if I do end up putting these up on my Ko-fi store, you'll probably find a few more landscapes in there over the next few months as well. But I do want to prioritise my crazy project. I know you can't see right now because, yeah, but the plan is to make this into a sort of stone clay effect Medusa thing. I need a lot more fake plants for the hair. I thought one was going to be enough. It is not going to be enough. And it's a very mask looking face and I'm not sure why. So I'm not quite sure what I'm going to need to change with that to make it look a bit more femme because it is supposed to be Medusa. Or it will be when it's finished. Like I said, I've got a vision. No one else can see my vision right now, but no one can ever see my visions and I always pull them off. So, well, mostly pull them off anyway. So I will show you my artworks as they develop over the next few sort of months. I did think that I was going to be able to show you a few more finished pieces today, but artwork always happens much more slowly than I expect it to. When I first set out to do it, I'm like, oh yeah, that'll be easy. I'll just be scratch wash and that'll be done. And actually, it ends up taking me much, much longer than I expect it to. I hyperfocus, I bent over my desk and then I stand up and I can't move my back anymore. Even though I have sold a couple of paintings before, I've always sort of sold them by accident. Like people have seen them and said, oh, I really love that. And I'm like, well, you know what, I don't, would you like it? Or I've painted somebody's holiday pictures and I've given them the picture as a gift and then they've given me money or, you know, something similar like that. And so this will be my first time actually putting some of my artwork on my shop. And I'm a little bit anxious about it. What if you all hate it? I'm sure you won't all hate it, but what if you do all hate it? And so I'm having to push through a lot of imposter syndrome to put these on my shop and I am a little bit anxious about it. But you know what, I spent all of the last year sort of pushing myself through imposter syndrome to do things anyway. And this is just a bigger step towards that, I think. Pushing my way through imposter syndrome over the last year has really opened a lot of doors for me and given me a lot of opportunities that I wouldn't have otherwise had. And so I'm going to try and continue that this year. And that is why I'm putting these up on my shop. I am defeating the imposter syndrome. Someone somewhere will hopefully like it. So I'm going to pop it on my shop for them. And if that person is you and you love this picture and it is going to become a part of your home, then I'm really, really pleased about that. And I hope that you love it. But I am very, very anxious about putting it on the shop. Join me again next week I'm not sure what I'm going to be doing yet because my daughter is coming home from university for her reading week, and so we're going to be doing lots of things with her and a lot of laundry for her, let's be honest, because every time she comes home she says, oh, I didn't bother paying for laundry this week because I could just bring it home and do it for free. And to be honest, I can't blame her for that because I would do exactly the same thing in her position. So I should think that next week I'm going to be mostly doing laundry, but I'm sure we'll find something fun to talk about. I might even have some writing news for you next week because one of my projects is coming along really, really well now, and I'm nearing the end of it. And so that means that my thoughts are starting to turn to my next project, which is going to be the live writing a novel on Patreon, which again, I'm very anxious about and have lots of imposter syndrome about. But we're going to be starting that in the sort of summertime. You can join my Patreon here. It's £1 a month for the lowest tier, but you get most of the things for that anyway. Or you can buy individual stories on my Patreon now as well, because they've introduced that as a new feature. But I had to do it as a minimum of £3 per story. So if you're going to pay £3 to read my story, you might as well pay £1 and read all of my stories. I don't know why anyone would do that. But if you just want to buy the one story, you can. That's on my Patreon now. I'll try and remember to put the link here, but you know how I am with that. I'll probably forget. So I'll put it in the description as well. But yeah, in the summer we are going to be writing a novel live. You're going to see all of my mistakes as I go along. You're going to get to give your suggestions for how I can change things, or your questions about what's going to happen next so I can adapt to that. And yeah, we're going to do that because why not, eh? Join me on Monday for my next vlog. Like I said, not sure what it's going to be about, but we'll be doing something. And I will be here for definite every single morning in your shorts, taking a great big deep breath, letting you know what I'm grateful for, all that business. This week I've been talking to you about what's challenging me because I was so anxious about my dog, but luckily he seems to be okay. It's always an anxious thing taking him to the vets because he is nearly 17 years old. And so every time I take him to the vets, I worry it's going to be the last time I take him to the vets. But it seems like he has bought himself another get out of jail free card and is doing all right again. So we're really pleased about that. But yeah, this week I was talking a lot about how anxious I was about that and about my car. But we do the daily gratitude. We take a deep breath. We keep ourselves on an even keel and we do our best to just keep trucking. And so that is what I will be doing next week as well. I will also be here on a Witchy Wednesday doing an intuitive card read for you around 11 in the morning. And if you would like to, you can book me for a personal reading through my Ko-fi as well, in the same place where you can buy my paintings. So I'll stick all those links in the description, and you should be able to find Patreon, Ko-fi and everything else if you want to keep up with my arts and writing stuff. Till then though, you have yourself a magical week.